Hello and welcome to another episode. This time you're actually joining me from my kitchen for those of you that cannot see and are listening on the podcast. And this episode is called It's Not About the Not All About the Money. And I had to share this one because it was a massive realization that happened for me recently. And so I wanted to actually come and bring it into one of my episodes and talk about my realization, how that came about, what actually happened there, what it is actually about if it's not about the money, and what you need to do about it as a business owner. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and share a little bit of my story and my messaging and what I have been feeding out. So what I have been sharing is like it's because of what I ask. I ask, what do you need help with? What do you need right now? And everybody says the same exact thing: sales, 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 sales. But actually, I realized whilst I have seemingly somehow, and I do feel like it's unbelievable sometimes, but I do get it because I'm really good at strategy, I'm really good at execution, taking action, and I understand fundamentally how to sell. So I became really good at sales. People recognize that. So they kind of see me as the solution and able to help them with sales. And so I started selling to that because it's what everybody said they needed support with. But the thing is, I'm not a sales coach. Yes, I can help with sales. Yes, I can help you make more money, which is exactly what I've been sharing. And I've even actually been sharing about making more money without working more, which absolutely is what I do. That is what I do, but I'm not a sales coach. What I am, though, is the Queen of Business Organisation, and I'm a really good operations manager. I'm really good at looking at your business and seeing where the gaps are, what you need to do in terms of a strategy, what needs tweaking, what needs changing, what systems, strategies, and processes need putting in place. And this has really quickly become my superpower. And the result of that can be more money because when you have got strategies in place, systems in place, when you are organized, because you have control of your time management, you are executing effectively, you're being productive, and you're staying focused and working on your goals, the result of that will be more money, more sales, but you're actually doing it working less, working smarter, not working more, and not working harder, which obviously when you do work harder, you do work more, leads to burnout, leads to overwhelm. And that is what I do help people with. All of that is what I do help you with if you are in a service-based business. But what happened was, whilst I was saying all this, I went to my business mentors event down in Windsor a couple of weeks ago as I'm recording this podcast. It's actually June. I'm recording this in June. This I know won't go out. Oh no, it does go out in June. It goes out this weekend. I forget sometimes where I'm at in my podcast schedule. But I was at an event and we it was a business focused event. It was focused on success actually. And while we were there, we had a session that was sound healing, sound bath, and I'd never done a sound bath before. It included a meditation, which I have done meditations before. But I do struggle with these kind of things. I am fully open to it, but I do struggle with these kind of things. Switching off. But I realise now we don't have to completely switch off. It's just being open and being in the moment. And actually, what happened during that was amazing, such an amazing feeling. I had tears in my eyes, I had goosebumps, I had this inner knowing that things are going to work out in terms of my long-term goals, which was an amazing feeling. Just having that knowing and having that message and visualizing that. Well, it was more of a feeling than something I saw, but I still see it as a visualization. I visualized that feeling. It was like I stepped into that future me. And what also happened that day was we did a focus session on strategy. We had to talk about where we were in our business, what we're going to work on in the next few months, what that looked like. And then we went around and we saw what our peers were doing, what their challenges were, gave feedback and support with that. And then we brought it back to our own tables, which was really good. It was like masterminding, but in a massive room of people where you go and diff and go do your research and come back. I absolutely loved that experience. Never done anything like it before, and I loved it. And I love going to events and learning and seeing what people do differently. Because I'm planning events in future, hint hint, so watch this space. But what happened was I had a few realizations at that time that no matter what level you are in business, we still have the same challenges. So no matter how much you're earning, no matter if you've got a team or not, no matter if you've just started out or you've been in this game 11 years like I have, you still have the same challenges. The table I sat at, everybody had a very similar thing. We were looking at how we could expand our reach with our audiences and build our audiences. For me, it was about community building because funny thing is, I am amazing at building communities. I have done it for 11 years. Before I even ran a business 12 years ago, I ran a successful mum community where I actually reached 8,000 people. We had 8,000 followers on the page. It was all about Facebook pages back then. Groups weren't a thing. And then groups came out and we created a group. And then I did start a business and I actually got to 10,000 followers on that business page. So it shows that I can create a big a big community, right? I can do it. But I think sometimes we do forget that and we need to go back to basics. So no matter what level you are at in business, this was me a few weeks ago saying this about building a community. Even though if you as a client came to me and says, right, I want to build a community, I'll tell you exactly how you could go and do that. I would support you through that. So the irony is no matter what level you are at, the same devils are the things that you keep on facing. And that was realization number one. Realization number two was even the people that were making money were struggling to figure out how they could make more and grow more. And that was really, really interesting for me because I sat back and I listened, and it was like research for me. I listened to the problems that people had, and my mind starts racing because I had a solution for their problems. And we got in the car. I was with my friend Daniel Hobson, who is a previous mentor of mine. And we talked about our experiences of the day. We talked about a lot of different things. And then when I got home and processed the whole event, the whole car journey with Danielle, because we were in the car for 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back, and we stayed overnight. Lots of conversations had between us, between women in the room, all of it. I started to process all of that and I had a second realization. I had been talking to people all wrong. I'd been talking about helping you make sales, helping you earn more money. And in my heart and in my mind, I knew I needed to reach this next level client. So when I talk about next level client, it's someone who has a business. And this is the person my mastermind sustainable sales is for. It's someone who already has an existing business. Their idea is already out there. But what they need to do is now grow and scale it even more so that you are selling consistently and you're sustaining your business's success and building a recurring revenue. But the thing is, and I have clients inside my mastermind struggling with this, and it's why they're in there, is that whilst we do that, it can be really easy to become fully booked with one-to-one or be overwhelming ourselves with lots of to-dos. So it's about streamlining your processes, working on your back-end systems, automation, and scaling your growth through that. And that is my superpower. That's what I'm good at, right? It's what I've started to do in my business. That's really coming into effect now. And I'm now supporting Girls in Sustainable Sales, the mastermind, with exactly that. And I've been talking about making sales, sales. But this big realization came over me that it's not about the money. It's not about the money from the sales. It's not about the money from the clients. It's not about that. What it's actually about is that balance and freedom that you are chasing. Because if you sit back and think about it, more money is not going to solve all your problems. Although what I do help with does solve all your problems, it's not the money that's the issue. You can make six figures in business, and although you've got everything you need financially, you're still overwhelmed, burnt out, tired, ready to throw the towel in, maybe not making as much profit as you'd liked, and still maybe working one-to-ones, maybe doing big group programs, loads and loads of clients. So how can we change that? And that is what it's actually about. It's actually about going from that place of being overwhelmed, overruled, overrun putting boundaries in place and improving your business operations so that you can create that freedom and balance. And that is what it is about. So I had that massive realization, and it was a game changer for me. And I want to share with you a part of this story because I love sharing stories and my experiences in business and how you can take this on board for yourself in your own business to get results as well. So I realized this, and at the time of realizing it, I went onto my Instagram and I recorded a story. I was very passionate, motivated, and I think I was walking back from a networking event or something like that. And so I recorded myself and I was like, it's not about the money. This is what it's about. It's about balance. It's about freedom. It's about bringing that recurring revenue on a consistent basis, but not having to work 24 hours, not always have to be showing up on social media. It's actually about being able to retain clients. It's about being consistent without being constant. And I was sharing all of this and was on a roll. And I was like, if you're in a place where you are overwhelmed because you're being mum, you're being the business owner, and you're facing external circumstances that affect your business, which throw you off balance, then we need to talk. And this is what I was sharing. And I shared my own experiences because at Christmas last year, I sold out one of my programs, Foundations, which is actually what the book I'm writing is based off. And at the time of selling out Foundations, we had, well, my husband's always got doctor's appointments and hospital appointments and things. At that time, we were still majorly struggling with my son, getting him into school because he's autistic and he finds it really challenging and over. Well, he's actually doing better now, but he at that point he was really struggling. We were having meltdowns every day. It did start impacting my work on a morning because I could not come into this house and sit and work, or in my office and sit and work and focus straight on the business. I had to put this Queen of Business Organisation hat on, and you may have heard me talk about this before, and step into the role of being who I am when I'm not mum. And that separation was challenging to navigate. So I had that going on. And then at that same time, within the space of 3 weeks, my own mum was facing health challenges that sent us to A&E every other day. I'm not going to share what that was because it's her experience, that's her story. And it's not public knowledge, I don't think. So basically, she had some health concerns, very, very scary. And then at the same time, two other family members that I'm not going to name because of their own privacy, but two other family members also had very serious health conditions as well that also saw them having serious tests done and diagnoses and things like that. And at that time, it does make you go, shit. And you can't, it puts everything into perspective because obviously it's my mum and two other really close family members. And it's it's dealing with that and being able to manage your business as well and not having it impact your business that is my superpower. Dealing with the meltdowns, dealing with being mum, being wife, being carer, and all of those things, and not allowing those external things to affect your business. Danielle Hobson, who I was in the car with, coming back from Windsor, she calls it running a circumstantial business. And what that means is when your circumstances are good, you show up in your business. And this is something that I have mastered is showing up in my business regardless of the circumstances. So forget about just that section of time at Christmas, but really backtracking on the last 11 years, we've had my husband at home with a total of, I think, around 13 surgeries now, physiotherapy, consultation appointments, GP appointments, blood tests, A&E visits from recurring injuries because of his conditions, many things just around my husband's health. We've had my son's anxieties and neurodiversity. We've also had challenges with my other children with their behaviour, which meant we get a phone call from school every single week. We've had our kids, even just saying this now on this podcast, in the last 2 weeks, my children have been sent home 3 times, or two of them anyway, have been sent home or had to stay home twice, both of them. So on separate occasions. So they've had a lot of days at home, unplanned, unexpected, curveballs, right? But even in those circumstances, I don't allow it to affect my business. And I'm not saying that it never has, because it absolutely has. Those of you that have listened to my podcast or know my journey like the back of your hand or have heard my story will know that external circumstances will have affected my business. But it's through going through that I made changes that made sure that it didn't affect my business. But even whilst going through everything that I've gone through, even when I weren't making money, even when I lost all of my clients, even when my husband went through a big surgery that changed, well, supposed to have changed his life last year. We moved home. He then got admitted to hospital with cellulitis and he had a serious infection. I still showed up for my business regardless of the circumstances. You wouldn't have known. And I'm not saying that if, an immediate family member's dying or you're going through grief or you're having a relationship breakup, don't take time for yourself. Absolutely take time for yourself. Take all that you need. However, it doesn't mean that we build a business only when the circumstances are good. Because if you do that, then you are never going to have this idea of sustainability and sustainable sales and recurring revenue. Because actually, what your business needs is you to be consistent and to create the balance first. So the money actually comes after. It's the balance that comes first. My mentor, who I'm working with right now, Sam, she has built her business around her life and not the other way around. And this is another realization that I've had recently is that, oh, have I been building my business around my life instead of my, no, have I been building my life around my business instead of my business around my life? And it's recently been a realization to me that even though I am the queen of business organization, even though I'm quite structured in the way that I work and how I show up and deliver what I need to deliver, I can improve that to create my business around my life and not the other way around. And I think that's a really, really important message that I had to get out there and I had to share with you right now. So now that I've revealed my realization and what it's actually about that freedom. It's actually about that balance. It's actually, and when I say freedom and balance, what does that look like? That is different for every one of us. For me, it's we've got a game like board game, Only Fools and Horses. I loved it when I was a teenager. My parents came home with that because we all loved Only Fools. I grew up watching Only Fools and Horses on is it Gold TV or something on Sky TV? And I loved it, and we always had that on the background. Loved it, found it hilarious. Grew up watching that. My parents came home with this board game, and I've now bought that same board game, and my kids love playing it with us. They're actually interested in the characters, and I've shown them clips of the sitcom, and they find it funny. Um, and so for me, that freedom and that balance is making the time to do that and it not affect my business, and I can still make money regardless. I can still serve my clients regardless. I can still show up in my business, but also be the mum that makes the time for the games with the kids. It's also allowing that time for myself, time for me to, at the minute, it's drawing. I want to go and draw, do creative things. I shift between different creative projects. If you're not new to this podcast and you're not new to my world, you will know that I have like 10 hobbies because I'm a serial hobbyist. Like I have all the hobbies you can think of. I've got a stash of wool, I've got sewing stuff, I've got paints, all the things, drawing stuff, colouring stuff, all of it. Love it. But it's also about making time for me to do those things. So they are not part of my life because I've not created that and not allowed that. It's also having time for me and my husband. So whether that's sitting and watching a film together on the couch, or whether that's going for walks together, or going to dinner together, or you can eat breakfast, or whatever that scenario is where we spend time together without the children. It's having one-to-one time with children and prioritizing that. And it's again, like I say, building your business around your life. So those things comes as a non-negotiable first, and then the business. But I am obsessed with my business and I'm not afraid to admit this. And I do believe there is a level of obsession that you need to have to organize your business and to make your business work for you, especially in the beginning, because it's going to take more in the beginning to build those foundations and to get things consistently running, especially in the first 3 years. Most people will lie and say that in a year you can get to six figures, and you can. People have done that, but realistically, the amount of people that it takes for their business to start even breaking even is around 3 years. My business was in profit very quickly, but then I reinvested it. And when I got amazing high cash months in the start of 2024, I then invested in a team so that I know that I could grow in future with the team behind me. And it has been challenging to navigate that because I'm not used to telling people I love telling people what to do, but I'm not used to telling people what to do and forgetting that I can outsource. And so it's about managing all of that. Okay. And it's about that kind of balance and freedom and what that looks like to you. For some people, you might be a single couple, no kids, no pets, and you want to go traveling. I couldn't, and I do like traveling, just not every weekend. That's not for me. I couldn't think of anything worse. I do want to travel. They are part of my goals. That's part of balance and freedom for me, but maybe 3 times a year rather than every weekend. So it's looking at what that balance and freedom looks like to you. Obviously, the sales and the money is going to contribute to that, but you can have the balance and freedom before the sales and money come in. And for the clients that I want to speak to and that I want to support, I had this realization that it's actually about supporting them where they're at, where they're making money, they are making some kind of money, they're getting sales in, but they need to grow that even further. But actually, they need to create a balance in their business and work and life balance, and have processes, systems, automation in place and operate their business in a balanced way so that it serves themselves as a person, but also them financially as well. And that is what it's about. It's about the overall freedom and balance and being able to show up in your business regardless of external circumstances. And that, my friends, is my superpower. So obviously, if you do want to work with me on that, balance and showing up in your business regardless of the circumstances, and um, surviving and not thriving, not just surviving, working on your business operations, then do come and reach out and find me on social media at Queen of Business Organisation or Dani Louise Smith. And of course, I do have Sustainable Sales, the mastermind there, if you would like to chat about that. But what I want to share with you now is what you need to actually do about it as a business owner to create that. And it is the stuff that I've just talked about. It is having processes in place. It's processes such, like looking at every element of your business and how can you operate better? How can you improve the operations with that? How can you manage your business rather than just being in it? Your business needs to be looked at in two different ways. You need to be working on it and you need to be working in it. You need to be obviously serving your clients, but you need to also be working on the growth and marketing for your business as well. So how can you be doing both of those things consistently? So what you need to actually do about it as a business owner to create that balance is manage your time there first and foremost. Make sure you're actually making time to plan and planning. And I say this all the time, but planning is so, so important. It is one of my non-negotiables. I do it on a weekly basis. I do it on a monthly. I do it on a quarterly. I do it on a daily basis. I am always planning in my business and then executing, because without that plan, the execution is not going to be as productive and is not going to be as streamlined to actually get me to my goals and to create that overall balance. It's looking at your processes and systems that you have in place so that you can automate things, so that you can streamline things, because I guarantee you can save time if you have processes and systems in place that make things run smoother. I actually used to have a an operations management role for a big company. It's quite well known. But I'm not going to shout out who it is because some people may know. But basically, their operations were a mess, and I went in to go and fix it and sort it out. Because what was happening is there was 3 different levels of membership, and when you joined, you didn't know where anything was. So that then creates a problem in terms of customer service, but it also creates a problem if you don't fix that in terms of customer retention, because if they're not getting what they want and what they've paid for, they are not going to stay paying you for that membership and that service. And that was something that happened and it was a big problem. So looking at the operations of your business and how you can tweak and change that can create a massive impact on what happens going forward within your business. And it saves you time because rather than having 200 people message you and say, where's access to the membership? If you just have one simple thing that automates their access to it as soon as they pay you and join, you eliminate those 200 questions so you are not wasting time responding to every single person and having that back and forth and then having to do the work to give them the access. Just one simple thing can solve that problem. And there is many instances in your business where this happens. Whether it is delivering the service to the client, whether it is delivering content on your social media and doing your marketing, whether it is your lead generation systems, whether it is communicating with your audience, whatever instance it is, there is loads of ways that you can improve your processes, improve your systems, improve and add automation to save time. And it can also help you make more money as well. It can help you make more sales. So the great thing about that is, as a business owner, if you have these in place, you can then sit back a little bit and you can actually have more balance and freedom because you know that that system, that process is running without you physically there. It then means that you don't have to show up every day in your business. It then means that you don't have to sit and answer every single question because it's going to be done for you. And I know sometimes people don't like this because it dehumanizes your brand to have things automated. But let me ask you a question. If you have still put your personality, your brand, and your message on your content, it's not going to dehumanize it at all. And people can still respond to you in real time. For example, replying to emails that are in a sequence, jumping in your inbox on social media. These are still touch points with you that can have a personalized human experience, unless you do have a bot behind them. Some people do. But it's still you, it's still your content, it's still your work. And at some point, they are going to speak to you anyway on a one-to-one basis and on a level that is personal. So don't think and don't be held back by the thought that it's not personalized and it's not bringing that element in, because it still can. Unless you use AI for absolutely everything. This is one thing I do hold my hands up to. I don't mind AI. It's not that I'm against it, but I do believe that there is a problem where a lot of people are just copy and pasting AI and everybody's content is starting to look the same on social media. So please do be aware and do be aware and be mindful of that. Okay. So, just to recap, it's not about the money. What it's actually about is the balance and freedom and showing up in your business regardless of external circumstances. That is exactly what it's about. That's what my superpower is. And I would love to support you to do that so that then you can get your goals of making more money and growing your business. And what you need to do about it as a business owner is simply work on your business operations. And I am here to do that for you, with you, alongside you, if you want support with that and that's something you want to work on. I hope you found a lot of value in this episode. And as always, do come and reach out to me. Come and speak to me. I'd love to support you further. Tell me what you thought of this podcast. I love it when people get in touch and say, what's your podcast today, Dani? And this is what I got from it. And these are the notes I've taken. And also, let me know of podcast episodes that you would like to see in future. I am looking forward to hearing more, and we are currently looking for new guests as well. So if you want to be featured here, either on my podcast or on YouTube, and you want to be reaching my audience and you want to get visible, then do reach out and apply to come and join me here and have an open discussion, raw and real, on any topic for life or business. And let's get you on here. I'd love to have you join me in an episode. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.